Welcome to the Right Time Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the right
welcome
time
to the Right
with
Time.
Bomani Jones.
My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. Hope to have David West joining us in just a second. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We've been talking about the Lakers Celtics 30 for 30 here on the show. The callers, boy, Shannon, they are very, very confident in making fools of themselves.
Right, very, very black and white when it comes to a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Not taking into account that there are a lot of issues that went on with these two teams, a lot that were brought to light during the 30 for 30.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that 30 for 30 just puts people, look, man, I know how y'all feel about talking about race. Like, I recognize that it makes y'all a little bit shaky on the inside of y'all. But we can't avoid it, right? But that doesn't mean you got to go about it being stupid. Like, the interesting levels as things go on race in Lakers Celtics. Red Auerbach and his belief that you need to have white players on the team in order to sell tickets, right? Number two, the way that Magic and Bird wound up effectively being a juxtaposition of race, right? Larry Bird from being the world he's from, Magic from the world he's from, then Magic winds up in L.A., and Larry Bird winds up in Boston because, again, Red Auerbach was so dedicated to getting the best white players, he drafted Larry Bird before Larry Bird had actually graduated from college, right? Next thing I know, man, these cats are calling me up talking about the athleticism on the different sides and how Dennis Johnson was actually as white as a black. Oh, what? Ooh. Like, I feel like y'all need to be quiet and learn. All right, but on the line with us now, this gentleman is now an NBA champion. His name is David West, man. How have these 2 days felt for you?
Man, they feel.
Damn, we go through all day to get David West and lost him that quick.
Speechless.
He sounded so happy, though, right? Like, he already sounded so happy with what's going on. That's the thing. David West so happy he accidentally hung up the phone. Kind of like that time I got so mad on the phone call with a girlfriend I was breaking up with, I accidentally hit off and never actually got around to the breakup. My bad. That was a long time ago, though. The button was right by my cheekbone on the zygomaticus. And it just went that way. I'm just killing time until we get David West back. Shannon, this is the worst when this happens, by the way.
Things happen, though,
they do.
With cell phones.
Oh, no, they totally do happen. Like, it's nobody's fault. I'm just letting people know as the host, it gets tricky. But there we have. David West is back with us, man. How have these last 2 days been?
Great, man. Can't complain, man. Just enjoying it, taking it all in.
Well, I know for a lot of people, and, a lot has been made out of this, that you opted out of that contract with Indiana to go play for the Spurs for a better chance at a championship, and now here. And I feel like a lot of people look at you like Dave Chappelle. Like, how do you walk away from that much money?
I mean, you got to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? We prepared, in a great way early on, and always talked about toward the end of my career. I just wanted to make decisions that were based about basketball. I didn't want to be forced to have to make decisions solely financial. And so it wasn't that hard. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there are a lot of things that we do sometimes that, are greater than, the monetary gain and things that you can get from it. And basketball has always been one of those things for me. So it wasn't a problem for me, man. And again, I don't look at the world or look at myself as like this entity that's only capable of putting the ball through a hoop, So I got a lot of life left, a lot of more things to do, so.
Well, I'm also wondering, was it attractive for you to, like, with Indiana, you had to be the grown-up. Like, was it attractive to go to teams that had other grown-ups there already?
Yeah, it was great, man. Just going into high-level environments, environments where, guys are just about winning, preparing the right way, and then obviously you have that great talent, and guys who just want to be productive when the opportunity presents itself.
All right, we are talking to David West on the Right Time. Now, we got to ask you about the thing with Tristan Thompson, man, because I feel like once two dudes get that close to each other, y'all both really want to back up, but you can't back up. Like, at some point, did you realize, man, my lips are right next to this other dude's lips?
Look, man, that was a very intense moment, but honestly, you don't even remember stuff like that, More than anything, Danny Crawford, he's a real MVP of that moment because he caught my left hand. And we talked about that. He saved me and allowed me to stay in the game because that was an intense moment. I felt like they were trying to, cross that line and do what other teams have tried to do to this team in the past and just beat them up and be physical with them. But we were here for that response, and I thought that helped us, maintain our focus going down the stretch.
Well, are you one of the last tough guys left? Because we were talking about this about the NBA. There aren't that many guys left in the league that the first thing you think about when you see them is that is a tough dude, but you're one of those guys on that list.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, you know. When I came in the NBA, man, I remember you couldn't even wear stuff on your hands because guys would target where you were injured, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the guys that I learned the game from were guys that played all through the 90s. So it's just a different time, a different era of basketball. And it's just something that I learned at an early age that, you always got to be ready to jump.
All right, we are talking to David West on the right time. So for you joining this team where all the guys had already been there, what was the most surprising thing to you to learn about that roster once you were a part of it? I think we lost David West again, guys. But it's better than Keith Hernandez, Shannon, where you had to pretend to be Keith Hernandez.
Right, actually, and we have David West, who actually sounds like he wanted to be on the show with us, so we greatly appreciate it.
Which is a great difference for that time that we had Keith Hernandez on.
I do wonder, though, he said that Danny Crawford saved him with the left hand. Like, did he save David West from not being kicked out, or did he save Tristan Thompson?
That is a fair question. I think it's one we might ask, assuming that, we get David West back. By the way, the right time is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. I thought about, too, I said about even so many tough guys left in the NBA. They got David West and Matt Barnes.
Like, everybody focuses on, hey, you won 73 regular season games and you go out and add KD. Oh, no, let's not focus on that. That's the shiny object in the room. They went and got them some tough dudes.
Right, David West and Matt Barnes, NBA champion. Like, that is where – now, granted, they had Matt Barnes before, who was on a team with the Warriors that I think was a bit more Matt Barnesy. But, all right, we got David West back on the line with us here on the right time. So with this team, I was just wondering, like, when you joined them, like, was there anything that was surprising to you when you became a part of that group?
I mean, other than the fact that these guys are like, they're still gym rat, and how loose, just the gym is in general. I mean, you could come into the gym. The one thing is that it probably makes older coaches, folks who have a more traditional view of the game, it probably makes them a little uncomfortable if they were to come into one of the practices, just because of how loose it is. But the thing is that these guys are gym rats, because the environment is so loose and so welcoming, guys are constantly in the gym working.
Was that a thing you had to get used to? Because I know Mike Brown said the hardest thing for him is getting used to the fact that, they're not calling a lot of plays.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a part of the way Steve does it. I mean, he wants, the talent of the team to show, but he just tries to keep it, constrained and confined at different moments. But what makes these guys great is just the ability to play on the fly and improvise and be otherworld type talents.
All right, we are talking to David West on the right time. Your teammate Steph Curry earlier talked to Mark Spears a little bit about the White House. We had a false report that you guys had voted about whether or not you were going to go to the White House. Is it too early for us to ask you guys about your intentions on that?
Yeah, we haven't even gotten together as a group since halftime of the championship game. Game 5. So we haven't spoken as a group or made a group decision. I don't even know how they got out there like that.
All right, well, moving on, talking about the parade, which I think is coming up tomorrow. Which dude on the team do you think is the one that's going to act the craziest at this parade?
I don't know. I have no idea. If I was a betting man, my money be on number 23. But I don't know. I think everybody's gonna be pretty excited. It was a heck of a journey this year. We had a fun time doing it. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna enjoy winning it.
I feel like my money's on JaVale McGee. Like, I feel like once you got the rat tail, there's no telling what's gonna come next.
Yeah, I forgot about JaVale. Yeah, JaVale gonna be out there.
Well,
He's gonna be looking good.
Well, I wonder about that joining a team with JaVale McGee, because I kind of felt bad for him through this year because we're kind of holding him to the standard of what he was in 2011, and now he's JaVale McGee, NBA champion. Like, from your year around him, are we in the media too hard on him?
I don't know if you're too. I just know what he is not what is then sort of projected out there about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, the one thing that threw me off is like the dude is informed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows, and I'm just taking it from what I've seen from a distance. Like, the dude is really informed. Like, he knows what's going on, like, every single day. Kind of the hot button social issues or whatever. He's pretty in tune with that stuff, which is not what you would If you didn't know him or get a chance to get up to him, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, just tell him that Papio Highly Questionable is his biggest fan because he gets mad at our show for laughing at him, and his biggest fan is sitting right there.
Right. That's what's up. I will.
All right, man. That's David West, NBA champion. But, man, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
All right, now, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next. So are the Warriors actually going to be able to keep this team together? I'll tell you why it might not be so simple on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Thanks to David West for joining us last segment. Mike Wise of The Undefeated will join us next segment. Mike Wise will join us at 5:30 Eastern, saying his time is not the time to stop bashing LeBron. Now, that's interesting. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So now we're at the point where we're looking at the future for the teams in the NBA Finals, because otherwise we'd be up here talking about baseball. Anyway, the Warriors. Who we got? Sean Livingston, free agent this offseason. Andre Iguodala, free agent this offseason. Kevin Durant, kind of sort of free agent this offseason. And Steph Curry, at least in theory, free agent this offseason. Now, what is interesting about the way that the Warriors are put together is, number one, who has ever made more magic with mid-lottery, like second-round picks or whatever it is? Like, they made the magic happen with number 7 pick Steph Curry, number 11 pick Klay Thompson, number 35 pick Draymond Green. I had somebody hit me, and they were like, yeah, man, well, you're supposed to hit on the number 7 pick. No. Tom Haberstroh of ESPN once did a column on the expected value of each pick, and he basically said what you can expect from the number 7 pick is Tom Gugliotta, and what you can expect from the number 11 pick is Tyrone Hill, right? It's Tyrone Hill. They got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson at 7 and 11. They got Draymond Green at 35. And then you carry that over, they got Steph Curry for $11 million. Like, they had a fascinating confluence of circumstances that allowed them to put this team together, including the decision by the NBA Players Association to not do cap smoothing. Basically, when the TV money came in, the cap jumped immediately rather than going up gradually. They took that bird in the hand over them two in the bush, right? They got it right there, and then that allowed the Warriors to add Kevin Durant. There's a lot that had to break there. Like, a lot of it was being good, a lot of it was good luck, and you ain't got to turn either one of those away if you're in that situation, right? But that's where they wound up. Now it gets to be interesting on how exactly do you keep this thing together? Because Iguodala played well over 30 minutes in Game 5. Well over. Why? Because he's their guy they figured that could guard LeBron, except once you get Kevin Durant, Iguodala is not – that cuts into the minutes. Like Harrison Barnes, okay, he could be a starter, but you play Iguodala more. Okay, we got Kevin Durant. This is a different ballgame. Sean Livingston, who is such an interesting piece to have because he's in effect a 6'8" point guard. He can only really come off the bench, but there's nobody that you're going to put out there to guard him who can actually guard him. Like, it stops mattering the fact that he cannot shoot. Right? He's like an 18% three-point shooter or something like that. Like, that fact stops mattering. Well, all these guys now are talking about Kevin Durant says he'll take a little bit less than the max in order to bring Iguodala back. He said he'll take less than the max in order to bring Sean Livingston back. Guys, guess who I ain't heard a word from about giving up anything on his contract? That would be Steph Curry. Steph Curry, the new LeBron, right? Where LeBron was like, look, after all this time but not being the highest paid player in the league, I'm about to be that as often as possible. That is going to be me. Steph Curry is like, no, you got all my discounts. You got by. Like, every assumption that people have about Steph Curry and his unselfishness, I'm not saying he's selfish. I'm saying he ain't giving back the max. No, he qualifies for the Supermax, right? The 5-year, $200 million deal. Every dime.
Definitely makes, what, 12 mil?
Mm-hmm. And did you see that Joe Lacob said that they'll do whatever it takes to keep Steph happy and to keep him? But you notice he didn't say, we'll give Steph the max. As if he's crossing his fingers and hoping that Steph's going to come in and be like, I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm going to take a little bit less than the max.
Honestly, I can't blame him. I don't think anyone should. And you look at what Steph's played for throughout his career. He's played well under his value. Once he really started getting it going, he played under his value for a lot of years.
It's like the most affordable contract in the history of the NBA because they got him cheap in his prime. Right? This isn't like they got a guy cheap on his rookie deal. They got him cheap in his prime. They were so fortunate in that regard. And I want to see what happens when this all goes with this idea of I'll give up some money off of my contract in order to sign these guys. Well, let's see what the rest of the league is talking about giving these guys, right? Like, let's see what everybody else is trying to offer them, and then we'll see just how much anybody is actually trying to give back. Because I don't think they're going to have a hard time keeping this team together now. Because I think even if you lose Sean Livingston, I think you can find somebody else that can do, like, Sean Livingston-like things. I think even if you lose Iguodala, there's a chance that you can find somebody who does that. The fun's going to start in 2019 when that Klay Thompson deal comes up. And Klay Thompson, it is entirely possible, will be in line for one of those $40 million deals. $40 million a year deals. Draymond Green the following year, it is entirely possible he'll be in line for one of those $40 million a year deals. And I'm sorry, I ain't giving none of that back. No. Like, it feels like in order for those guys to give money back to make it worth it, for the cap and everything else, they wouldn't just be giving up like the handful of million that Kevin Durant is willing to give up. And look, I ain't here to tell anybody that $3-4 million isn't a lot of money. I'm just saying for Kevin Durant, the end of his life, if you subtract $4 million, I don't think very much changes if you have that. But I don't think Draymond and Klay Thompson are going to take 25 instead of 40. At least I wouldn't. Hell no. Are you kidding me? And that's where it's interesting, though, because the whole thing about this is you want to make it so that the home team can pay more, right? Because if the home team can pay more, then you retain guys. The problem is that the home team got too many guys to try to pay. What do you do?
And I think by the time we get to that point, everyone's going to understand if one of those guys decides to walk, hey, or if the Golden State decides to let him go, I think it's going to be understood. Hey, we had our run. Go get your money. We can't deny you from trying to make the most money you can possibly make. And like you said, these guys, it'd be one thing if you're sacrificing a couple mil, but to sacrifice 10 to 15 mil a year, who's going to do that?
Well, what we have to find out, and what I don't think we have any answer for, is what is Joe Lacob's appetite for the luxury tax, right? So that was one of the things in Oklahoma City was that they did not want to pay the luxury tax. Dan Gilbert in Cleveland, no problem paying the luxury tax because when you got LeBron, it's just money hand over fist. But remember this about Joe Lacob. They moving into that new arena. What is it, 2020 that they're moving into that new arena? You might want to show up with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, right? Like, that's a thought. So what is his appetite for the luxury tax? Yeah, he's rich. Let me tell you something about rich people. They don't get rich by giving their money away. I think that's a fair point to make, right? I just think about rich people. Just because rich people are not known for just giving money to people, especially not the ones that work for them.
The Chase Center will open in the 2019-20 season.
So 2019, right after Klay Thompson's deal is up. Yeah. No, this thing ain't going to break up in 2018. I don't think it breaks up in 2019. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with that tax. Once that comes up, how much is Lacob willing to do to keep everybody together? And to be honest, if he broke the whole thing up, how could I be mad at him, right? I'm not trying to pay, if I'm him, like $1.50, $1.75 for $1.
And to your point earlier, really quickly, I'll look this up. The players drafted at the 7th pick after Steph Curry. So Curry was drafted 7th in 2009. Greg Monroe, Bismack Biyombo, Harrison Barnes, Ben McLemore, Julius Randle, Emmanuel Mudiay, and Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I feel like they got their money's worth out of the number 7 pick. Thanks to David Kahn and the Minnesota Timberwolves for not having any idea what they're doing. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, LeBron James has nothing to apologize for. That's what Mike Weiser, the Undefeated, says. We'll talk to him next on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guest join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Wise, the Undefeated, will be joining us shortly. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. As we wait on Mike, we were just thinking about this a little earlier. We were thinking about talking about the Cavs and what they got to do with this team. So I did highly questionable today, and the question was, should the Cavs go get Paul George? You realize we're at a point now with the Cavs where we just get you another player and we don't even care how he fits in? You know what the Cavs need? A guy who plays the exact same position as LeBron James. How does that work? Like, how is that the business? We're going to get a guy that basically plays the position as the guy that runs everything around here. Now, granted, I don't have a great answer for you for what the Cavs should do. I have answers for you on what the Cavs probably need. By the way, the things that LeBron said they needed during the season, right? Everybody laughed at LeBron saying they needed a playmaker. Then you looked up and realized they needed a playmaker to the point where, is it fair to say they could have used Delly?
Are you saying this team lacks some sort of grit? Is that what that is?
Actually, no. I was not going there. I mean, there's like the actual playmaking, right? Like actually passing the ball to people where your first thought when you get the ball is not, how am I going to get mine, right? I feel like that was the guy they need. Like that was not the guy they needed, but I never thought I'd get to a point where I was thinking like, man, they might have been better off if they still had Delly. Now, I don't know if that means you pay Delly $10 million a year, but yeah, they might have been better off if they'd had the Del Meister on the team.
How is this different with having a guy facilitate the offense compared to a guy who can go get his own buckets? Like you said before with Golden State, they needed a guy with bringing Durant in. They essentially needed a guy who can get his own buckets. I don't think Cleveland necessarily needs that per se, but they need just another option, someone else to handle the ball and get other guys involved without it having to be Kyrie and LeBron exclusively.
Well, where LeBron is, and having Kyrie helps in this respect, because one of the big problems the Cavs had in the first LeBron run was LeBron's job was to make all the shots and make all the passes, and, by the way, probably get most of the rebounds, right? Like, I don't know if you saw this. LeBron in the NBA Finals had led both teams in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. You can't have one guy whose job is to do all of those things. Like, I just don't think that sort of thing is possible. Now, where they wind up winning with Kyrie is LeBron can rest and let Kyrie go out here and get some buckets, right? He's not the only guy on the squad who can go and get a shot. But LeBron is one of the guys that can go out there and get a shot, and he can't be responsible for making all the passes. Kyrie ain't making the passes. That's not his MO. That's not what he's here for.
And that's where I think a guy like a Paul George can help. Not saying Paul George is going to go out and get you 10 assists a game, but he could be another primary ball handler. Somebody else bringing the ball up the court and making passes and setting things up other than just Kyrie and LeBron.
Yeah, but is that what you think of, like, Paul George is the guy to do?
Not exclusively, of course not. No, but looking at the Cavs, other than LeBron and Kyrie, who else did that? Maybe Darren Williams when he was the backup point coming in. But J.R. Smith would essentially sometimes do that. Amon Shumpert when he wasn't dribbling the ball off his foot. But on Cleveland, who else was doing that?
Right. No, you're right. They need it. I'm just not so sure that Paul George is the guy who fixed that. Like, I don't think they need another, like, starter necessarily. The issue is, how do you get it when you're so far over the cap and in the tax, right? Like, how do you go about doing that? And that's why we talk about trading Kevin Love. That's why we talk about trading Kyrie Irving and trying to get one of those pieces back. But, like, I don't think that their issue is we need another star. Like, I feel like their issue is we need guys who do different things. We need another guy who can be a playmaker. We need another guy who can protect the rim. Well, not even another guy who can protect the rim. A guy who can protect the rim. Whoever that guy happens to be, we need a guy who can protect the rim. Like, that's how I think the Cavs need to look at this. The thing I think the Cavs can't let themselves get trapped in is thinking there's no one who can't be traded other than LeBron. Like, that's the one guy you can't trade. Kyrie, I think you got to give it some thought, right? Now, I don't think you give Kyrie away, but I think you have to give it some thought. Like, Kyrie might be the best player I've ever seen off the dribble. Like, and I don't feel like that's an exaggeration in saying that. He's such a good finisher. He can pull up and shoot. Like, there's so many different things that he can do once he's dribbling. The problem is, once he's dribbling, nothing else matters. It's just boom, 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 boom. About dudes out there. Kyrie, man. Hey, Kyrie, somebody standing behind you with a pistol. Can't hear you.
But having a guy like that, I get it. They won the championship last year, but just looking forward, like, how successful can you be with him being the guy?
Look, let me tell you this about it.
Well, not the guy,
right.
Obviously, because LeBron, but you get what I'm saying, like, to be LeBron's second guy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess on one level we've seen the answer can be a championship, right? It can be a championship when you have Kyrie. The thing, though, I think the Warriors are going to force a lot of these teams to realize is ain't no room for sentiment. You know, there's no room to be sentimental. I don't care how much you love somebody. If you're trying to keep up with the Warriors, you might have to ship them out, right? Like, there's just no room anymore for anybody to be like, oh, no, but he did so much for us in the past. Past ain't got nothing to do with tomorrow. Like, what is it that you're going to do tomorrow? And those are some hard decisions for a team that, oh, by the way, might not actually have a general manager because their general manager, his contract expires on June 30th, and he has not received even an offer from the owner of the team. LeBron could go in. How salty LeBron going to be next year if they don't get this thing? Like, unless make some real moves. How salty is he going to be?
And there's another rumor out there, and we at least have to address it because folks have been talking about it. There was a photoshopped picture somebody posted with Carmelo in a Cavs jersey sitting next to. No, it was. I think it was Carmelo. It's photoshopped in a Cavs jersey sitting next to J.R. Smith. Mm-hmm. Of course, the two played in New York and Denver, and I think J.R. liked the picture, or whatever. Can we please? Carmelo's not coming to Cleveland. Like that's not going to happen unless there was some sort of buyout. And I think we talked about it on the show yesterday. Unless there's some sort of buyout, Carmelo's not coming to Cleveland.
Yeah, like what would his willingness be to go to Cleveland? Like, does Carmelo need to clear his head bad enough that he go to Cleveland to do it? I just need a fresh start, man. Got a lot going on, and I just need a fresh start. Just need to start over. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number to hit the phone. Start to Kevin in North Carolina. Kevin, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, what's up, Bo and Shannon? How you doing?
Doing all right, man.
Hey, appreciate taking the call. Listen, LeBron, I've been waiting to say this for the longest, Bo. LeBron was tired because he's bringing the ball up. He's trying to do everything, be everything for the team. Cleveland should go ahead and trade Kyrie, get multiple people back for him, and do something to help LeBron. That's the only way they're going to have an opportunity. Kyrie is good, but like you said, when he gets the ball, nothing else matters. LeBron tried to bring the ball up. He's trying to rebound. He's trying to score, and he's dog-tired the entire series.
Well, I'm wondering, and I appreciate the call, Kevin, what do you get for Kyrie? Like, what could you get?
I've asked you about this before, about if you have a potential Kyrie for Chris Paul trade, if you're the Clippers, would you say no?
Ooh, I mean, keeping in mind Chris Paul is a free agent.
Right. It would be a sign and trade, obviously.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. No one ever does a sign and trade like that, right? Now, my question is this, though. If Chris Paul were to, say, sign with San Antonio, if you are the Clippers, how would you feel about trading for Kyrie? But if you're the Clippers, what do you have to give? Right? What do the Clippers have to give? The homie Woj, by the way, talking about Blake Griffin might go to the Celtics. Yeah. Is it possible that the Celtics rebuild, the Clippers rebuild is going to come because nobody wants to come back? Like, how crazy would that be? Yeah, we rebuilded. Why? Because the players say so. Yeah. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal, even if it's not with us. Saving you time and money. Now, that's Progressive. Call or click today. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, we're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about the Yankees. You're listening to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We got Cedric Cornbread Maxwell joining us in the 6 o'clock Eastern hour. There are rivalries, and then there's Celtics versus the Lakers. Celtics-Lakers Best of Enemies, a 5-hour 30-for-30 film event, chronicles the storied franchise's epic clashes and relives the Boston-LA battle from both sides with sensational footage and fresh, insightful interviews. Part 3 of the 3-part documentary airs tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Again, Celtics-Lakers Best of Enemies, a new 30-for-30 film, continues tonight. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number, and we gonna talk about baseball. Every year, boy, we get to late in the NBA season, Shannon, people stay hitting me up. All you ever do is talk about basketball. Why don't you ever talk about baseball? And the answer always is because y'all don't want to talk about baseball. Y'all don't have any desire to talk about baseball. But, I am going to talk about baseball, and I'm going to talk about baseball really in large part as a treat to Shannon, because Shannon is a Yankees fan. We don't hold it against him. And the Yankees, at least the last time I checked, were in first place. Are they still in first place?
That is a factual statement.
How many games up are they?
I'd say 4. I'll check.
Oh, really? Like, that's an actual real live lead. Not too far from the All-Star break. They got themselves a star in Aaron Judge. And I think that's a big thing, by the way. Like, Mike Trout is totally anonymous as one of the greatest baseball players. 3 games? Hey, Mike Trout is totally anonymous as one of the best baseball players that we have ever seen, and that is in large part because he plays for the Anaheim Angels. Like, I feel like if Mike Trout played for the Yankees, it might be a different story. Well, now the Yankees got a guy for people to pay attention to, and that is Aaron Judge. Like, think about this with Derek Jeter. I don't think people, like, a lot of the attention that we paid to Derek Jeter had to do with the team's success, and we ascribed a bit of that to Jeter because when he got there, the winning started, right? Aaron Judge, however, is a different sort of phenomenon. Like, I feel like to really appreciate Derek Jeter, you got to really be into baseball. To appreciate Aaron Judge, all you got to be able to do is see. Like, do you see how far that ball went? That one that he hit out there to the retired numbers at Yankee Stadium the other day? And I wanted to be like, I've never seen anybody hit a ball that far at that stadium. And then I realized, okay, that's the new stadium. So maybe I hadn't, but that didn't mean the same thing, right? 496 feet, that one that he hit out there. Put that together with the Yankees, and now I feel like you got something that people will catch on to. Because, look, after the NBA draft, after the NBA free agency, we got about a month and a half, 2 months to fill. And we're going to have to fill that with baseball because baseball is what's out there. I know y'all like to watch the poker every now and then, but I can't talk about that on the radio, homie. It's not an option. It's not an option. We're going to have baseball. But somebody made an interesting point. Now we have a story on ESPN.com that asks, is this year's Yankees team, the 2017 Yankees, the least hateable Yankees team of all time? The least hateable Yankees team of all time. And that really got me to thinking about, like, how, like, if you didn't grow up, like, in the 70s with it, like, I feel like there were people who really hated the Yankees in the 70s. And I feel like there were people who, like, really hated the Yankees in the 2000s. But did people hate the 96 Yankees? I mean, I hated the 96 Yankees. They beat the Braves. I hated the 99 Yankees. They beat the Braves. But there's nobody on that 99 team I hate like I hate Jim Leverett. Ain't never been the same.
The whole team of the decade thing just...
Was it a 6-run lead? 6-run lead. And by the way, they were still the team of the decade, no matter what anybody tells you. No matter what. Hey. If we're going to be out here saying, LeBron, hey, you get credit for going to the finals, we got to give the Braves credit for going to what? 5 World Series and winning the division?
Got that one, though.
Got that one.
They got that singular championship that one time.
Yeah, a championship. One thing you ain't about to make nobody do. One thing you're not about to do is make me feel bad about no championship. Hell, yo, the one right there.
The championship, 90s.
You're damn right. That's right. The one championship. And it was good, too. It felt great, right? I can't believe you did that. Like, that was just so completely unnecessary.
You brought up 96 and 99.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right. I did. We didn't need you, right? Like, that job had been taken care of. But thank you for bringing up 95. Appreciate you. Look, if somebody from Cleveland was here, then we go in on them about how the Braves got to one, and they ain't had one since 1948. I see how you do. But really, I don't feel like the Yankees, but really, the 21st century run of the Yankees, I felt like the Yankees didn't really become the evil empire with it in that way until Clemens came in 91. They made the trade for Roger Clemens in 1991. Was it like Homer Bush, David Wells, or somebody else, and they got Roger Clemens? Before that was the team that Gene Michael built while Steinbrenner was off on punishment, right? Like, who was there on the 96 Yankees to dislike? Right? And what reason would there have been to dislike the 96 Yankees? Because that wasn't one of those we're just going to spend more money than everybody else sort of teams. The 98 Yankees, quite possibly the greatest baseball team that we've ever seen for a full season. Okay, I hated Paul O'Neill. That was a guy to dislike. He struck me as a sort of, yeah. That was the guy right there. But it's not like a whole roster of dudes where it's just like, oh my goodness, I hate the Yankees. Now, my reason that I would agree that this Yankees team is probably the least hateable Yankees team is pretty simple. How can I hate you if I don't know your name? Like, really? Like, I don't know who enough of those dudes are to hate them. I guess they got Ellsbury, they got Judge. Those are names. Sabathia, I'm familiar with him. After that, man, I don't know much. That Ivan Nova guy still play for them. And I only know who he is because he pitched a game once, and I was like, damn, who's he? And then they told me his name was Nova. You're not sure he plays for them anymore? If not, I'm short one. I don't know anybody on the Yankees. You can't hate people that you don't know. That's all it comes down to. Yeah, it's hard to hate a team when you don't know the names of who they are. And by the way, that's where we are with baseball 2017. We don't know the names of the Yankees. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, guess what's official and just in time to ruin my birthday? You're listening to ESPN Radio on the ESPN app.
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico. Let's talk about power. To illustrate this, allow me to tell you a story about how I moved a tow truck 25 miles using only my index finger. I was stranded with a flat tire. I opened the Geico app. Then, with a few taps of my finger, I beckoned emergency roadside assistance and a tow truck to my car. I invite you all to unleash the full potential of your fingertips with the Geico app. Thank you.